Good evening, everybody. Brian Neubert here from goldenblack.com, live in Mackey Arena following Purdue's annual nail-biter against Maryland, this time a 58-55 Boilermaker win. This is your wrap video brought to you by our friends at the Purdue Club Hotel. We thank them, as always, for their support. It is profoundly appreciated. Once again, Purdue 58, Maryland 55. Big Ten, big life, big stage, Big Ten, as I always like to say when these games inevitably turn into rock fights and come down to the last 15 seconds or whatever. Purdue is still a young team. I mean, they're playing a lot of inexperience. I think less inexperience now than they were at the start of the year because Braden Smith and Fletcher Loyer have played a ton of minutes. Now it's you almost look at them as much as sophomores as you do freshmen still. But Purdue has played now in 5 Big Ten games that have gone down to the final seconds or gone to overtime, and Purdue is now 4-1 in those games. Now, the thing that can maybe give you a little bit of trepidation about that sort of thing is that if you're a believer in the universe just being random and balancing out here and there, that means Purdue is due for some things to go against it now. I tend to subscribe to the alternative religion that is the basketball gods that Matt Painter often speaks about. When you play the game the right way, or you try to, you appease the basketball gods. When you don't play the game the right way, you agitate them, and you taunt them, and you troll them, and you're just asking for trouble. And I think that, this Purdue team is really trying to play the game the right way. They aren't perfect, not even close, but they are trying to take care of the basketball. They are really buying in defensively. They're listening to their coaches. They're paying attention. They're getting better. They're learning from their mistakes. They are rebounding. They're doing a lot of stuff right, and they're doing a lot of stuff with the best intentions from a basketball perspective. And I think that stuff matters not only in the moments at the ends of games where the game is there to be won or lost, but I think all that stuff, when you do it over the 38 minutes prior, it puts you in obviously that much better or that much less worse a situation than you would have been in otherwise. I think that has a big part of Purdue's success in these close games. And it's these close outcomes that win you Big Ten titles or cost you Big Ten titles. I don't have to take you back very far in Purdue basketball history for a little primer on that one. But I think Purdue has kind of made some of its own luck here by really playing the game the right way, at least trying to. And when you do that, close games are more likely to go your way than not. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing here. I think, Purdue, the second half was kind of a smash and grab kind of deal because Purdue looked like they were going to blow Maryland out. Maryland looked like they were going to get blown out. Maryland's body of work on the road in the Big Ten this year is not good. And when Purdue was up 16 or whatever the biggest lead was there in the first half, it looked like this game was over. And it looked like, Purdue could just get offensive rebounds and make free throws and kind of salt this one away. And then I think Maryland really kind of shook Purdue a little bit offensively, really gave them some different things that, Purdue hasn't seen a whole lot of this year. Some of those zone looks they went to kind of crossed Purdue up in the half court a little bit, made things hard on Ross-Ade passing out of the post. I think Braden Smith was probably disrupted more than any other game this season, maybe outside Rutgers. But I think you have to give Maryland a lot of credit for throwing a lot of stuff Purdue hasn't seen at Purdue, and Purdue, just kind of having to get through it. And they'll probably be better off down the line because of it. You're not going to see a lot of zone in the Big Ten, but I think that it's probably something Maryland does periodically. I didn't really look at their profile all that closely, prior to this game. But I think Purdue will be better off now because of this. They hadn't been zoned a whole lot prior to today. I think Maryland did a good job, not necessarily turning Purdue over with its backcourt pressure, but knocking Purdue out of a little bit of rhythm, a little bit of tempo. And that's been big to what Purdue's been doing offensively. They've been very fluid. They've been very kind of momentum-driven. They've really done a good job working extended shot clocks, or extending shot clocks, working in an extended manner against shot clocks. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying right now, so just ignore me. Purdue's been methodical at times offensively. They've really shared the ball. And I think when you knock 5 to 10 seconds off that shot clock before Purdue gets to half court, I think that threw Purdue, man, that's hard to say, threw Purdue for a loop a little bit, really kind of knocked them out of rhythm. And I think Purdue winning this game, despite really struggling on offense in the second half, Purdue not making threes the way they'd been making threes before, I think is a big deal for this team. I think every close win you get is huge. Every win you get in the Big Ten is huge, but every close win I think probably makes you better. Every experience matters, to a certain extent. And I think Purdue just kind of keeps making winning plays. And sort of the face of that all season has been Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer and some other guys, Caleb Burst, Mason Gillis, et cetera. Ethan Morton, won't get the credit probably for this game that he probably earned. This is the ultimate kind of game that belies the value of the plus-minus metric, because I don't know how in the world Ethan Morton was a -9. I know he was on the court a lot when Maryland made their runs. They didn't make the runs because of Ethan Morton. But Ethan Morton makes a number of big winning plays. There was an offensive rebound he chased down. There was a blocked shot that you probably know which one I'm talking about. That was a really big play for Purdue. Ended up not only taking 2 points off the board probably for Maryland, but also stealing a possession back because the ball went off Maryland. Just a really heady, really big time, just a really winning play by Ethan Morton. He made a couple of those on top of completely canceling out Maryland leading scorer Jameer Young, who was 4 of 18 from the floor. I can't remember if any of those 4 field goals came against Ethan Morton. One of them, I suspect, at some point probably did. But this is a guy who averages 16, 17 a game, whatever it is. He gets 10. He's 4 of 18 from the floor. Had a good all-around game otherwise, but that was Ethan Morton right there. And that's the difference between Ethan Morton now and the Ethan Morton last year. Last year, you sort of put him out there on point guards a little bit, but not all the time because you didn't want to expose him to quickness. But if there was a guy like a Marcus Carr who wasn't as explosive from a quickness perspective as some other guys, you could use Ethan Morton's length a little bit. Now, against certain point guards, Ethan Morton can actually pick the ball up, full court and really disrupt that guy over the course of 94 feet. He's really come a long way as a defensive player. He's having a great defensive year. Whether or not he'll be recognized for it at the end of the year, I have no idea. It really doesn't matter. But he's having a really good defensive year. He's a big part of the solution for Purdue this year. Purdue is an entirely different defensive team now than they were last year. That bar wasn't very high, but I think you have to give Ethan Morton a lot of credit for that. You have to give Ross-Ade a ton of credit for that because if you ask me, I think Ross-Ade should be very much in the conversation for Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He will not get it, I don't think, for reasons I've outlined already in past videos, but I think he's sort of the face of this defensive turnaround. Ethan Morton's right there behind him. The freshman buying in and being so advanced from a defensive perspective. Neither of them are really great defensive players yet, but they're listening, and they're becoming good team defenders very, very quickly. And they're doing their job. They're holding up their end of the bargain. Whatever cliche you want to use. But Purdue's just a different defensive team now than they were last year, and they needed to be. They absolutely had to be. It was non-negotiable. Purdue is not in this position if that step is not taken. They're not even close to this position, but they are in this position in large part because of that. So kudos to them for doing that. Kudos to them once again for finishing this game with some really strong defense. They've got to do a better job. And, I don't know how much of this is just chance. I don't know how much of this is just the physics and the geometry of basketball. But the long rebounds, are really something Purdue's tempting fate with. Again, I don't know if that's negligence on Purdue's part. It's hard to make an airtight argument that it is. And I don't know how you fix it other than your guards just have to do a better job running those balls down, or everybody's got to do a better job getting between an opposing player and the ball. I have no idea, but Purdue's given up a lot of long rebounds, and it really, I think it did cost them a couple points tonight. It could have cost them a lot more, and that's been a recurring theme. How you fix that, I don't know, but that's really the one thing from a defensive perspective that stands out right now as something Purdue's got to shore up. Otherwise, they've been doing a pretty good job here, and that's a big reason why they are now 19-1, sitting in a pretty good spot in the Big Ten race here, and still have a lot of basketball to play. But again, same message, same massage. Put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Same message after every game. This season's been almost a best-case scenario for Purdue in every way, shape, and form. But you also have to understand Purdue's won a lot of close games right now. And the difference between Purdue being whatever they are in the Big Ten, 7-1, whatever it is, and being like 5-3 or something like that is not very big. But you got to give Purdue credit for pulling those games out, for growing up real quick in big moments, and for really not being fazed by any of those big moments. That's even against Rutgers. I thought Purdue did enough to win that game. It's just Rutgers made one more play than Purdue did. So it's not like Purdue disappeared in the one game they lost. So I've lost control of this video, in case you haven't noticed. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. So from Purdue's 58-55 win over Maryland, the rematch of this will be a bear for Purdue here in a couple weeks. It's Brian Neubert from goldenblack.com, live in Mackey Arena. Thank you to the Purdue Union Club Hotel for your promotional support. As always, we appreciate it. And thank you for watching, thank you for reading, and thank you for listening, and thank you for processing our materials, however it is you process our materials. And I will talk to you again. I will not be going to Ann Arbor. Mike will be going to Ann Arbor for us, but I will do a wrap video from home after that. So I will see you guys then, and then again after the Michigan State game next weekend. So that's what I got. Thanks, everybody.